What's good, people? Welcome into the Fan Addict, man. I was supposed to come in here today, first video, tell y'all about my channel, why y'all should come back, like, and subscribe, and all that good jazz. But in preparation, I came across an article on Bleacher Report.
What a hit! Falls free on the ground. South Carolina deserves this for the home run. Hopkins has got it. Touchdown, Clemson. Guess which dogs are barking first? Uga, get after it.
As y'all know, it's spring game season, and Georgia had their spring game yesterday. First game of the new season in 2021 will be Georgia and Clemson. This article that I came across was wrote by a guy named Jeff Benedict for the Rubbing Rock. Now, Clemson and Georgia, we got a little history back in the day. It's a little friendly rivalry, I guess, because school's not but like 70 miles apart. As you can see, I'm a Georgia fan, more so I'm a Georgia alumni, but I live in the upstate of South Carolina. So on a daily basis, I get it from South Carolina fans and Clemson fans coming in both directions. Now for the Clemson fans, I have a good friend that's a Clemson fan. He's a level-headed bloke. I've always wanted to use that word in a sentence, but I digress. This dude, he sees what it is. He know they good. He know that we got potential. He know we good. We ain't got the championships Clemson got. Not, you know what I'm saying? But he not unrealistic about the game coming up. So this article that I read from the Rub and Rock, Jeff Benedict says Clemson football. UGA spring game shows Tigers are further ahead. First of all, a spring game ain't nothing but a scrimmage with cameras to the public. That's all the spring game is. Fans, reporters, everybody want to get all up in arms and make all these bold predictions and where the team at and all that stuff based on a spring game. You guess what? The team had 2 more spring games prior to this. They just didn't have no public cameras. That's all it is. And even Kirby said that coaches will pass a lot more in spring games to minimize injury, I guess, because when you run the ball, it's a lot of collisions going on, it's a lot more physical. So, for instance, you come away from Georgia spring game saying, oh, they throw the ball, it was like 700 yards of offense. We're going to be tossing it all around. Are we going to pass more? We will. But we're not going to pass. We're not going to be pass happy like Oklahoma or nothing like that. Kirby Smart's not that dude. He's still going to run the ball. It's not going to be run heavy like it was. But I said that to say this title right here, it's just dumb. It's just ignorant. And then in the article, the one thing I want to point out is he says, and I quote, the Tigers are deeper and more talented at receiver, tight end, running back, linebacker, and special teams. Special teams? Special teams? Nobody even does special teams other than kicking field goals. And you want to tell me y'all got a better kicker than Jack Putlesny? Come on, bro. Like Jake Camarda is our punter, and he was actually up for the whatever the punter award is yearly. He was up for that last year. So I don't know if Clemson's punter is better or is good, but we got Jake Camarda. He was the starting kicker yesterday in the spring game. That's all that was. Because Kirby already know what our starting kicker can do. He's just trying to find a backup. So, special teams, and then he said they also have a better coaching staff. I will agree with that. If I had to choose a coaching staff, it would be Dabo and company. I'm not saying that Kirby ain't good. I like Kirby and staff, but I feel like Dabo and company get more out of their players than, at least at this point. It's the proof is in the pudding. I don't go based on what could be or what might be. I can only go based on what is. But to say, okay, let's take this right here. I've heard this several times in the past 2 weeks, that the receiver to receiver comparison is not a comparison. It's Clemson hands down. It's Clemson hands down if we're talking about recruiting and 5 stars. But if we're talking about on-field production, what's returning, Clemson's top 2 returning receivers, E.J. Williams and Frank Latson, a combined about a little bit less than 600 yards of receiving together. Kearis Jackson had over 500 receiving yards by himself. So is it hands down? I mean, if you're talking potential, maybe, but that's a matter of opinion. We're talking about on the field production. I want to hear nothing about what Frank Latson could be. I'm talking about what he's been for the past 2 years, and that's unavailable due to injuries. So we don't know what he can be. I mean, I can go out here and say Zamir White going to be the best running back. You know, he could be the best running back in UGA history, which is not true. But that's what he came in built as. But then he got an ACL injury and then another ACL injury. And we haven't seen what we thought was going to be the full Zamir White yet. But you said your running back room was better. Even with that said, ain't nobody on y'all returning, on Clemson's returning roster at running back better than Zamir. Now, Phil Maffa, he looked like he's going to be hard to tackle. He like he's going to be a problem. And if Lynn J don't get it together, Phil Maffa will be the starter midway through the season. But we don't know that yet. That's just what we think going to happen. So don't tell me that you telling me that Clemson is deeper at running back. So Zamir White, James Cook, Kenny McIntosh, Kendall Milton, Dejon Edwards. So that's not as deep as Lynn J. Dixon, Darian Renter, and Kobe Pace and Phil Maffa. And out of all those names I just named, Phil Maffa the only one that ain't actually played a down in college football yet. Like, bro, like let the fans be fanatical. Let people like me, people like my boy, that's the Clemson fan. I definitely got a fanatical South Carolina fans, a few of them actually. I don't know what they be thinking, but that's for another video. But come on, bro, let's not do that. I wanted to talk about just the Georgia game, but I had to address this because this is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I want to give a detail what I thought about the spring game, but right now, just the overview of the spring game. Overall, like say Kirby said, you know, he passed a lot so that it, you know, as to prevent injuries. And we had some bright spots. I mean, Darnell, as you can see, Darnell Walker, I mean, dude 6'7", 280. I don't know where the fat at, but it don't look like none of it there. He like he actually slimmed down, so I don't know what he weighed last year, but he absolutely trucked some dude, Jackson. I think it was Jackson. Jackson, hey, man, salute to you for sticking your nose in there, but let's make some business decisions going forward. Darnell looked good. I mean, he looked like he looked last year when he get a chance. The question ain't whether or not Darnell can produce, is will he, because of how Kirby and company calls the games and calls the plays and things of that nature. I mean, we don't know what's going on with that. Then you got I guess I would say the two people that some, if you don't really follow football, that people was really talking about was A.D. Mitchell and Carson Beck. A.D. Mitchell, he showed some signs. I mean, he still got to get better. I mean, he's a twitchy guy, but he still got to get better at route running and a little bit physical on the line. Because it's like if Jalen Kimber was able to press him a couple of times, but I think he's going to be good. But I follow recruiting, and not just because I'm looking to see what 5 stars and 4 stars we're getting, because this dude actually was a 3-star. But go back and watch the tape for yourself. I mean, it's good, you know, when you follow Bleacher Report, you follow the YouTubers, the actual analysts, not the YouTube fans, but the analysts who know what they're talking about, like Brooks Austin knows what he's talking about for the most part. And think people that's actually played. But actually go watch the videos for yourself. I mean, when you're talking about, like, for an example, Jalen Kimber, Keely Ringo, all these people. Like, people say, oh, well, Keely Ringo's definitely going to start. Why? Because he was a 5-star? Like, Keely Ringo didn't get any reps last year. Like, I think Keely Ringo ultimately will be the best DB out of the bunch. But I don't even think he's going to start at the beginning of the season. But that's, like I say, I'll go into who I think going to start and things of that nature. It was good to see old D-Rob. I'm a D-Rob fan, been a D-Rob fan since he shafted us. I was still a fan. He shafted us on signing day and went to Cal. I couldn't blame the dude. He said he was going for education, you know, and they was pass happy, and we was, ground and pound. So I couldn't blame him. So, hey, man, the dude like a senior citizen out there, but I love D-Rob. I hope D-Rob get off this season. Then you had Carson Beck. Carson Beck's another one who's been undervalued. I mean, the dude's a 4-star. He wasn't a 5-star. We get it. He wasn't ranked as high as Brock Vandergeer from Gunner Stockton. But check this out. When you rank, there's only 32 5-stars in the class. You got to look at also who you're coming out with. Like Carson Beck wasn't a 5-star, but he played in Florida's highest classification in high school. And as a junior, threw for over 4,000 yards and led his team to the state championship. The reason why I mentioned the classification because the top 3 states that produce the most 5-stars over time is California, Texas, and Florida. So if you're playing in Florida at the highest classification, as a junior, you take your team to the state championship and win. Like, come on, man. Like, that don't mean just because you ain't no 5-star, somebody going to come in and take your spot. I mean, like, when Gunner Stockton first committed, people was like, well, who going to transfer out? It's Carson Beck. Like, bro, Carson Beck is a baller. I mean, Carson, and he had a whole year of, taking reps in practice, playing against those DBs and things of that nature. So, and I think he showed a little bit of that yesterday, just the talent that he has. I mean, of course, they called a pass-happy play scale for him, but, they wanted to see what he got. It was about spring. It's about getting reps. We know what JT can do, even though JT, I think he threw it 41 times. I mean, Kirby's not trying to get nobody hurt out there, but he's trying to see what that pass attack going to look like. If we're going to throw the ball, the best way to get it in is to get experience. So, I mean, Brock looked good out there too, but he got a ways to go. But, I mean, I'm going to tell y'all right now, just before we get into the preview, I think after JT leaves, Carson Beck will be the starter. I mean, that's just my opinion. Like I said, we'll dive deep into that later on down the line. And then, so overall, it's a pretty good day. I thought it was going to rain, but it didn't. So, got a lot of work to do. Saw some positive things, from the Dogs. Let me know. I don't know. I'm still not ready to call the Clemson-Georgia game right now. I'll do a Clemson-Georgia preview on down the line after previewing both teams individually and the schedule and all that good stuff. If I had to call it right now, I'd probably say Clemson would win, and that's because of the experience in the DBs. Like, our DBs have no game experience. Like, when I say DBs, I mean corners. I mean, our corners, like Jalen Kimber's good. Amir Speed has got a couple of snaps and reps. He played a little bit in the Cincinnati game, but that was about it. But Clemson has more experienced DBs. So regardless of what the talent is like, the fact is that Clemson is more talented at DB. So if I had to call it right this moment, I'd probably say Clemson. But we'll do that later on down the line when everybody's healthy, because in Clemson spring game, they didn't have everybody playing to hold people out. In Georgia spring game, they didn't have everybody playing. So we'll do some more, looking at it and just get a realistic, like, I'm a fan, but I don't want to be crazy about it. Like, I'm not going to go out there and say we're going to beat Clemson by 30, because that's just not happening. Like, I heard some, I hear the fans, Georgia fans, the delusional Georgia fans say we're going to go out there and beat them by 30. In what world are we beating Clemson by 30 unless some people get hurt? Like, I mean, Justin Fields played phenomenal and beat them by 21. I think it was 49-28 or something like that. I mean, granted, the game was over early, but just you're not gonna do stuff like that. So, and I don't believe Clemson. If Clemson win, I don't believe they're gonna beat Georgia by 30. I think it's gonna be more like a 38-31 game or something like that. We'll see how all that pan out. It's when Kirby gonna get to show whether or not he can coach and with the big boys. Like I say, I do feel like Dabo and staff is better than Kirby and staff, not by a lot, but I do overall feel like better. I mean, they've shown it. They got 2 championships in the last 5-6 years. You know what I'm saying? Kirby's recruited better. So this is another reason why you shouldn't be looking at 5 stars as the only way to measure players. So with that said, man, let me know in the comments what you think, man. If you're a Clemson fan and you don't like nothing I said, or a Georgia fan and you don't like nothing I said, let me know. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Hey, man, it's the Fan Addict, man. We just say we take our shoes off at the door. Come on in. Bring all your feelings in here, because we fans. It don't mean nothing when we say it, because it ain't going to change the game. And we out.